And that's why I always say to people, like, when you get humbled in entrepreneurship, it's the best thing. We thought we was on top of the world. Every event going well, everyone gassing us, people cheering our name. I remember Loughborough, I think the venue cancelled us last on the day. We was there.
Venue cancelled on the day.
People were waiting outside.
Hi.
And that was actually Manuel's guest speaker, that one, to be fair. So Manuel's guest speaker. We had...
on the day?
Yeah. It was so many. And then I think we thought we were going to get like 150 people. We got like 40 people. But that got us back to the drawing board. Okay, cool. Wow. Where did this go wrong?
What's going on, people, and welcome back to the Blackprint, providing aspiring black entrepreneurs and business owners the blueprint to start your success story. I'm your host, Spainy, and today I'm joined by family. Guys, this is going to be a good one. Let me not lie to you. This is going to be a good one. Well, when is it not? But this is going to be an extra good one. Let me tell you that. I'm joined by Denzil Jones, ladies and gentlemen. Denzil, what's good, bro?
I'm good, bro. Thank you so much for having me. As we were saying earlier, it was overdue, man, this episode. So excited to be on here and be a part of the journey, man. 100%.
Yeah, no, appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. How was the journey down?
Yeah, not too bad, to be fair. Not much traffic, but it's gonna be.
Well, this time you can't complain that there's not that much traffic.
Yeah.
So
I thought it'd be longer than it was. So
Not
too bad.
Good stuff. Well, look, thank you for coming down. I'm excited to get into this, man. So, look, for those who don't know, who's Denzil?
Yeah, so Denzil, 23-year-old entrepreneur. I guess for people who may know me from online, my speciality is in property. So when I was around 17 years old, I started my own property business. I've also developed other ventures since then, which we'll probably talk about throughout the episode. But yeah, I'm all about business, family man, and just growing, building for the best version of myself, to be fair. So yeah.
I love that. And, I can vouch for the family man bit anyway, because, I remember you coming to my mum's house on her birthday. So, that's definitely true. And so, look, I guess very quickly then, what are some of the businesses that you have? Yeah,
so I've got different businesses, but they're in different industries. So I'll kind of break them down. So in the property sector, my bread and butter is my property sourcing business. So essentially, I find property investment deals for investors who are looking to buy in and around London, or if they're looking to buy, their dream house in London. Then branching off that, I've got my own rent-to-rent portfolio. So again, working with landlords, managing their properties, and we're getting a markup on top. On top of that as well, we've got like our own investment property portfolio, where we're now investing into units ourselves. And then we've got a property mentoring program. So for people who are looking to start their own property business, we help them. So that's like the property business side. And then other than that, I've got something called the Gen Z Club. And that's just basically something I created in about 2021. And that was essentially a platform to help young entrepreneurs, build wealth, create connections, and be the best version of themselves. Because I feel like growing up, there wasn't a lot of positive influences. So we wanted to make sure that we can provide a network of Gen Zs. And it kind of all intertwines with each other, to be fair. And then we'll see my personal brand as well, where I sometimes get speaking gigs from. So yes, a couple of businesses, to be fair.
23 years old.
Yeah.
23 years old, and you just reeled off like 4 or 5 businesses there. That is mad. So look, the name of the game for the Blackprint anyway is to delve into the story, right? So let's start origins, okay? So you said 17 years old when you first started property.
Yeah.
You can't even buy a house at that age.
Yeah, that's true.
How?
I think, I would like to start with the end in mind, right? So when I started my property journey, actually even before that, as a typical 17-year-old, I was trying e-commerce, Amazon, and all these different hustles. But I think with me, I always thought, no matter what industry I go into, I can make cash. The first thing I'm going to do is put it into property. If I win a lottery, I put it into property. So with me, it's always like, how can I do the hardest thing right now? Because even if I do make mistakes at it, by the time I'm 20, 21, I'll be good. So that's what I did. Had a mentor in the area who was helping me get started in my journey. And then from then, I just feel like property's a people's game. So I'm just developing it on my skills and my character, and then just applying it to the property industry. So yeah, I started off with bringing him deals, and then from there went on doing my own deals. Then once I was at uni, I started on my own rent-to-rent deals, and then just I think with a lot of things, I think people often think it's too complicated to get started, but sometimes you just get started, and then one thing leads to another, and opportunities. Like I didn't know that I'd be doing this at 17 years old, but I think just one opportunity led to another, so that's how it kind of progressed, I guess. So
Now, you mentioned mentor there.
yeah,
The word mentor is something that I hear being used quite a lot. A lot of people I speak to say the importance of getting a mentor. I can tell you for free, when I was 17, I was not thinking about mentors. Yeah.
yeah.
So how did you go about getting one?
Yeah, so getting a mentor, I think first of all the importance of it was that I feel like a lot of times, I think especially my generation, we try to say, oh, we're self-made, I've done this by myself, self-made, whatever. But I think like if someone's already done what you want to do, why not learn from them? Because you can take 5 years or 6 years of your mistakes and there's money wasted, where you can just spend a year with a mentor and he can change your life. So I think with me, I was like, who around me is doing something I want to do? And again, as you know, growing up, people who were doing well were doing it maybe from illegal money, from football or from music. Also, I want to be a footballer. Knee injury, all that stuff happened. But then I said, okay, cool, who's done it? And then luckily, because my mum's an accountant, bookkeeper, I came across someone with accounts who ended up being my mentor. I just approached him. I couldn't afford to pay him at the time. So I said to him, look, I'm going to pay you with my time. Go to your office, cookies, tea, whatever you need for your client, and in return you can mentor me. So that was really life-changing. I feel like things would look a lot differently if I didn't have a mentor, because I think even when certain people I was around were going on the wrong path, he was helping me stay grounded. He was helping me saying that, Denzil, all these things are short-term. Why don't you just focus on the long-term game, which can now benefit you in the long run? I think that's needed, right, as well. Like, it's like that figure where you know that, okay, cool, because he had like a Porsche, a mansion, all these things. So I knew that success was in reach. I just need to follow the steps that he said. I think it was important as well because he didn't, I guess, teach me on the basis of material possessions, but more so on the character you have to become. Because when you now develop that character, you can apply it to any business rather than just having a specific skill set for a business of, let's say, property. Because I remember I kept saying, I want to learn property, but he's like, now, Denzil, I want to develop your character. Because even if you now change from property or whatever, you're still going to have that character to succeed. So yeah, so pivotal, man, having that mentor, to be fair. So I know it gets thrown around a lot, but I think it's so crucial.
Yeah. I mean, definitely something that I need to actually start implementing myself. But like I said, I hear the importance of it, and everybody who's done anything says having a mentor, whether it's even in employment, entrepreneurship, whatever, right? As you say, there's somebody who's done what it is that you're looking to do. Why not tap into their brain, right? And fast forward however many years. Okay, but one thing I want to kind of understand from you as well is, it's one thing, like you said, you saw a set of accounts that your mum had, or was looking after, should I say, and you saw what you saw, and it's one thing seeing it, it's then another thing actually actioning it, saying, okay, who is this? Let me tap them up, have a conversation with them, approaching them, you know? Now, I know you said around not having, well, ultimately the funds to pay him for his time at the time, and then you thought about, I guess, a barter exchange, service for service, if you like. Where did that kind of fundamental underlying mindset come from?
I think with me, I've always got that mentality, even till today, that anything I want, I can get type thing. So I think with me, I know that, I guess, relationships is always a two-way thing. It's just actually an exchange of value. It can be monetary value, it can be time value, or whatever it could be. So my thing was like, and it's funny because even nowadays, again, I'm nowhere near as successful as him, but when people approach me, it's like, okay, cool. What, like, if someone just comes to me saying, Denzil, spend a day with me, teach me all of this, like, that's something I wouldn't really take seriously. But someone like, oh, Denzil, I remember I had someone, like, I can't think a year or two ago, like, Denzil, I've seen your content, it's all right, I want to edit all your videos for you, can you just do like 1 or 2 calls with me a week? I was like, do you know what? That's a great value exchange. Yeah. So I think with me, I just thought, okay, cool. What, because again, he's about 6 years old when I was working with him, or maybe like 55, old school, he didn't have social media. So I said, okay, cool. If I can now create value through your social media, I used to do webinars for him, bring him clients, help him with tea and coffee, that's going to be worth his time imparting knowledge. Because again, people's queuing up to pay him like tens of thousands of pounds, right? So I think with me, it's just more so about, I don't want to just be taking. How can I also give? And that way we can have that relationship long term. So I think, again, I didn't want to just have like a short term relationship. I'm just taking from you, I make money, and then whatever. So even like, I think it was in summer, 2 months ago, I even met up with him. Like, I'm still really, really cool with him because we've got that relationship where he knows that I'm not just trying to take from him. I'm trying to add value to him whatever way I can, if that makes sense. So yeah, but I don't know what, I guess, where I got that mindset from. I think it was just more so about, I saw an opportunity and I was like, cool, do you know what, yeah, I can't help myself. I think as well, it probably, I guess, to backtrack a bit, it stemmed from, I feel like in life, when you're complacent, right, I think you don't necessarily take massive action. But I think at that time, again, I was in a situation where I think financially growing up, because things weren't the best. So I remember, I don't know, something happened financially. I'm not sure if it was a bailiff, I don't even know, something. So I think, I said to myself, the only person that can change my situation for myself and my family is me, right, at the time. So I think with me, I was like, you know what, I'll do anything it takes to make that happen. So I just thought, yeah, how can I just get those results and fast track it? So yeah.
That's big, man. That's big. I think I've said this to you numerous times, and I'll say it again. Like the head you have on your shoulders at your age is you're obviously wise beyond your years. Do you get what I mean? I imagine you read tons of books though.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. We're gonna come on to that later on though. But yeah, no. Again, it's clear that you. Well, it's clear that you do. It's clear that you are just a fountain of kind of. Well, you've got an insatiable thirst for knowledge and learning and developing, right? And long may that stick with you, because I think that's just the way you're always going to elevate, regardless of where you are. You could be a billionaire, you can elevate, right? 100%. So yeah, no, that's sick. All right, so you got this mentor. He was teaching you property. How does that then transpire into ultimately a business?
Yeah, so legally in the UK, right, you can't really transact on properties until I think you're about 18 years old. So again, anything I was doing, I was more so bringing him clients. He was doing all the checks on them. Then I think I remember, and again, this is probably just my ambition, right? I was very grateful and humble that I was working with him. At the same time, I said to myself, you know what, yeah, I can't be just working for someone forever.
Yeah.
And because he was very old school, he was just stuck to one strategy. So I said to him, like, okay, cool, how can I expand and make it for myself? And he actually encouraged me to do that as well, because he knew my mum, he knew our situation. He's like, yeah, Denzil, why aren't you going to this? So I think I started the deal sourcing business, because again, that's low barriers to entry. I knew that all I had to do is find good property deals, and then someone can pay me for it. So again, when I was old enough, I got compliant, which is like the right legals and stuff. Started going out there, finding investors who looking for deals, find deals myself. Selling them on, and then also I got a rent to rent. So in my first, again, I was contemplating whether to go to uni or not. But when I started uni, again, at the time I didn't have much capital saved, but I knew that, okay, cool, sourcing is good, but it's more so active income. I go out there, find a deal, you pay me. If I don't find a deal, I don't make money. So I said, how can I make regular money without me having to put much work in? And that's when I got into rent to rent. So for those who don't know, it's basically when you're renting a property from a landlord, and with their permission, you're now renting it out, for example, like on a night basis as service accommodation. So when I was in uni, I went to Nottingham. Again, I found a really good property, which I was actually meant to be selling on to someone. But I said, you know what, this is actually a really good opportunity. I didn't have the capital. So I said to myself, okay, cool, who around me has that? So again, one of my uncles, I knew that he was a dentist. He might have had a little bit of capital. And I don't like asking for money at all. But again, it's a value exchange. I said, okay, cool. This guy has a lot of money from his dentist, because he has a dentist practice as well, to be fair. So there's a lot of money, but he has no time. He got, I think he had 2 kids or 3 kids, I don't remember. 3 kids now, yeah. 2 businesses, mad busy. I was like, cool, look, if you can, I guess, fund this deal, I want to manage it on a day-to-day. I'm going to check it. You're going to have to worry about nothing. Again, it took a lot of convincing, because again, I was 18, but he kind of saw the potential and took the risk. And then, yeah, that became my first rent-to-rent unit. I had it at uni, and obviously, because I was in Nottingham, the unit was in Nottingham. The non-busy days, I bring my friends over. Like, no, it was good. It was a good time, to be fair. But I think that was just more so proof of concept. Because with me, I always have visions in my head of what I can do. And I think most of us do in life as well. But I think what stops people from getting a result or not is action, right? Because if I just envisioned it but didn't take action, I'd be like, okay, cool, it could happen, but it's just more so of a fantasy. But in my head, I was like, okay, cool, if I just get a small proof of concept, then that's what I need. And that's what I did. So I literally listed a property on Airbnb, got our first book, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to run with this. So that's how it kind of like transitioned to a business. And again, through documenting on social media, got me more. I remember I put like a LinkedIn post, went viral. Like, so, and then I think from there, a lot of people started messaging me, oh, Denzil, do you have property deals? And it kind of transitioned into a business, to be fair. So yeah.
Yeah. So, sorry, this is what, 2018?
So I started uni in 2019. Yeah, uni was 2019, just before COVID.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay. So we'll come on to that. But I'm interested now as well at 18 years old. Obviously, you just mentioned that your first deal was with your uncle. So that one, obviously, that outreach is probably not so daunting.
Yeah.
But when it came to reaching out to people outside of your immediate kind of network at 18 years old, young black boy, asking for money to, do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
Talk to me about that and that journey.
Yeah, I think, do you know what it is, yeah, I remember my dad said the same to me is about be so great they can't discriminate. Now, I know that there's a lot of things against us, right, growing up, and I completely understand that, but with me, I don't like to give excuses for myself. Yes, I know I can say I'm young, I'm black, I might not talk extremely posh like everyone else, but I still know that if I provide enough value in the marketplace, people will pay me or someone will pay me regardless of my colours. I think that was my mentality. So I remember even from sixth form time, so that's around 16, 17, I said to myself, okay, cool, how can I put myself in the rooms where people can pay me money? Because again, a lot of people think that, I even saw a quote on Twitter the other day which was saying something like, a lot of people think that we're in a recession right now, right? Whereas there's still people queuing up to buy Lamborghinis, queuing up to buy Rolexes, right? So it's just about the rooms you're in. So I think when I was growing up, I said to myself, what rooms can I be in where I can now attract people where I can take money from them but it won't affect them as much? Because what I mean by that is, if, for example, someone's got £5,000 saved and I'm asking for £5,000, to them that's their whole life savings gone, right? But if someone's got £100,000, I'm asking for £5,000, it's only a percentage of their wealth, right? So I started going to networking events in like Canary Wharf and Mayfair about 16, 17. Again, I just come in a suit. I'll just be myself, to be fair. I wouldn't try to pretend I'm someone I'm not. And yes, a lot of people ignored me. A lot of people thought, who's this guy? But there were some people who took me seriously. And then from that, they became my future investors. So yeah, that was quite useful.
Wow. All right. So you've just mentioned there as well, 2019, you started the Airbnb business. The rent-to-rent business.
So yeah, sourcing was like 2019 fully. Then Airbnb was end of 2019, early 2020.
End of 2020. And then obviously 2020 comes around.
COVID.
We all know what happened then.
Yeah. So that was a tough time because so the Airbnb business, I think it was around December 2019, right? And again, profitable. COVID was happening, but like it wasn't as bad at the start. I think when it hit like April, I think that's when lockdown happened. Again, I'm probably getting the dates a bit wrong by a few months, but yeah, around that. And then I remember, because there was a 2-bedroom property, right? And then we used to have like a lot of contractors booking in pairs. But now there's a rule, you got to book separately. So we went from, let's say, 90% occupancy rate to now like 30-40%. And then luckily, obviously, we were still able to break even, but it wasn't really that profitable. So it was profitable for like, say, 3 or 4 months. Then after, it was difficult. But with this, we had like a break clause. So after 12 months, we did give it back. But it was still good for the experience. I learned a lot, made a good connection, all that stuff. But if I didn't have my own connection situation, it would have probably been difficult. Because I remember there was like 1 month that, so we had enough money to save us for a while. Then coming towards the end, again, the restrictions were so bad, so he was able to cover a bit, then we was able to pay him back and stuff. But yeah, that was quite a tough period to be fair. But again, with me, I've always said to myself, when these situations happen, it causes you to adapt. So that's what made me now double down back on sourcing. So even the month where we was down, I put a bit of money into the business.
So were people still buying and looking? I know you just said around when when you're in the right rooms, as you said, we're in a recession right now, there are people still buying. So this was ringing true for property at the time as well, even though people weren't really...
Yeah, 100%, because they always say that there's another saying that says, when people are greedy, be fearful. When people are fearful, be greedy. So during COVID, 90% of the market isn't trying to buy. They're trying to save their money, whatever. Whereas the people who are now the billionaires, they're like, okay, cool, no one's buying. This property that's now worth 100K, I can get it for 70K. And they're buying cash. So again, I was targeting those individuals because they now know that, okay, cool, if I put the money in now, in 10 years' time, this property's going to be worth X amount. So people are buying. And that's why a lot of the millionaires that you see now from property got rich through COVID. So many. Yeah, even with like crypto and stuff, a lot of the crypto millionaires, they got rich through like that COVID period when everyone was scared. They'll put money into their assets. So yeah, I was taking advantage of that, and that allowed me to generate the cash flow to then put it back into the business, to be fair. And I was still doing that whilst working. So I think I only stopped working, I'm probably going to get dates wrong, I think about 2022. So I was still, 2022 I stopped working, or 2021. Yeah, 2022 I think actually. So yeah, I was still working and I was trying to make money from my part-time job, do sourcing, and just trying to make ends meet. And it was good because, again, it's all proof of concept, right? Because I think everyone goes into, I guess, hostels for different reasons. Sometimes it might be like to put food on a plate. So once you now achieve that goal, it's like, okay, cool. Now, how can I buy nice clothes? Cool. Now, how can I give my mum some money? Cool. And then it's just like step after step. And yeah, it was a good time. It was difficult, but it caused you to, I guess, be And I said to myself, if I can go through COVID as a business owner, anything that comes my way now, I can handle it type of thing.
Yeah,
so that was my
yeah.
mentality as well. So
Nice. How did you go about learning the trade of sourcing then? Because I mean, I've loosely done a bit of research myself and whatnot, because I guess with what I do, there's elements of it that are very similar. It's very much relationship based. It's very much kind of brokering, if you like, and whatnot. But I feel like with sourcing, as you said, around becoming compliant and stuff like that, and then also, I imagine it's not as simple as, oh, this property is up for this much. Let me go and package this up and send it to somebody else. So what are the nuances? How did you become good at doing what you're doing?
Yeah, I'll say the three main ways for me was, number one, I did have my initial mentor, amazing guy, but then because he was very old school, so he knew about sourcing, but not the modern day way that we source. So I actually paid for a mentor at the time, and he was someone who was literally about 4 years older than me. He's done really well in sourcing, and again, even till today, every year I probably invest in like twice a year into like masterminds or whatever, because I believe that knowledge is power, right? So I paid for him. He actually showed me the ropes. So I used to meet up with him in central London. He'll break it down to me. That was really useful. Number two, from doing it sounds cliche, but the more you do in sourcing, like you learn so much. Just from like, I might package it all wrong. An investor will be like, oh, Denzil, like next time do this, because if I was a dodgy investor, I'd have taken this deal out of you. Or so, and the agent would have been like, oh yeah, just remember to do these checks. So that was that. And then third, like, it sounds so cliche, but again, but networking, man. I feel like everything I've been able to achieve, I give it to my network highly, because just talking to the right people, all you need is one thing and that'll change your perspective and how you're operating. So yeah, so important that,
Yeah, okay. So we're in 2020 now.
Yeah.
COVID has been happening. Obviously, you've just spoken about the challenges that you face from the rent to rent side of things. However, you doubled down on sourcing. What was the rest of that year kind of like as we approach 2021?
Yeah, so I think with me, in my head, I was thinking, do you know what? Yeah, people now do properties. I don't even want to work, right? And I think being young from I guess the urban culture, what you want to call it, you sometimes have pride about working. Everyone's talking about whatever. So I remember I went through conflict with myself because everyone saw me post on LinkedIn that I'm doing property. So at the time, everyone thought this guy's doing whatever, right? But then I knew that, okay, cool, yes, it was good, but then COVID happened. So I was conflicted. So Amazon warehouse, bro. I was sourcing. I was like, but I didn't want anyone to know. But I remember I was banging out Amazon warehouse, and my close friends knew, but I didn't want anyone to know. But you got to do what you got to do type thing. 100%. And I remember, because I was paying good, man. I can't lie, it was paying good. Amazon warehouse, sourcing. Then I believe lockdown, COVID, I think lockdown closed for a while.
Bro, there's too many lockdowns for me too.
Yeah, sometimes I can't remember exactly, but I remember in that period I kept on sourcing, and then to now I'm going into my second year of university, right? And then around actually 2020, I remember, as I mentioned, there was not many positive influences growing up. So me and my friend Poku, we said to ourselves, okay, cool, how can we create an environment for young people to network? We had one random link up in Starbucks, and then we was doing like Clubhouse rooms, and then that became in 2021 the Gen Z Club. So so I was still sourcing, but then I was like, okay, cool. In 2021 around January, we started doing loads of Clubhouse rooms, and that ended up becoming a Gen Z Club, because we just thought, okay, cool, how can we provide impact to the community, get people, because I knew how beneficial a mentor was for me. So I was like, okay, cool, how can we get a room of young people and get the right mentors involved with them? So yeah, I think, so 2021 then, for 6 months, I think it was in lockdown again, we were doing Clubhouse rooms every single week for 6 months. Even when there was no one in the room, we'll still do it. And that was challenging again. Then when lockdown opened out again, 2021 summer, we did our first event for the Gen Z Club. And that's how the Gen Z Club was fully born. So yeah, that's kind of like how it tied in with each other.
What were the original Clubhouse rooms about?
Literally everything, man. It was literally stuff like building wealth, finance, building your personal brand. And I think the way it actually started is because, again, all the Clubhouse rooms at the time were just like on whatever topics, right? It was funny. Yeah.
There were some wild Clubhouse rooms.
Like wild Clubhouse rooms. So I said to myself, okay, cool. Yeah, these topics are cool, but it's like, I felt like we were just all wasting our lockdown period. We were just like, okay, cool. It's an excuse for us to be bummy at home, chilling. I thought, no, man, like, let's use this lockdown period to actually develop ourselves and come out better people. So I said to myself, okay, cool. Let's just talk about positive finance, family, health, religion, all this stuff. different topics, and again, tapping into my network, bringing guest speakers on. And again, loads of my good connections I have now is through the Clubhouse rooms, man. So that was so beneficial. And we built that trust, right? Because I feel like to build a brand, you need people to like you, know you, and trust you. They got to know us through the Clubhouse rooms, us seeing us post it. They got to like us from us hearing us, and then trust us from, if they can hear from us 6 months in a row, they're going to now trust us. And that way, when we launched our first event, we literally put tickets on our Instagram, like 80 people sold out straight away within like 24 hours, and then had an event in London, really, really good. And again, with me, one needs a proof of concept, then I run with it. And then we brought the event to Nottingham, I was studying, then into London. Then I think the 2022, we done an event every single month of that year because it was just like so much demand for it. And that's how the Gen Z Club was born, which I'll probably go into a little bit later as well. But yeah, and then from there, other revenue streams from the Gen Z Club was born because again, it was good to bring a community together. But again, hosting events aren't cheap, right? And we're just merely breaking even. So then we just found out a way to monetize it and then go from there.
Yeah. So that's 2021.
Yeah.
You've now got the initial concepts of Gen Z Club as well as Airbnb and property sourcing.
Yeah.
Because we were having a conversation earlier and you mentioned about not working on too many things at one time, right? So as the Gen Z Club was being born, and while I appreciate that was kind of its own separate thing that you just wanted during lockdown, a platform to kind of inspire, if you like, what was going on with your other businesses?
You know, really good question, man. And and the reason I said that to you as well is because I feel like naturally something is going to sink, right? So I feel like although Gen Z Club wasn't monetizable like that, I saw the big vision. But I would say as a result, sourcing wasn't as consistent because I'm going to put my 100% into sourcing, right? I'm now focused on Gen Z Club. I was running with that. I was doing my university degree. So I feel like...
I forget you were at uni.
Yeah, I was at uni the whole time. So I think with that it was... And I was working as well.
Oh boy.
So with
you
that...
must have 48 hours in your day.
I was just trying to maximize my time, right? But I think that taught me the importance of focus because even I look at it today, and when I'm working with a lot of successful clients, they always say the one thing that allowed them to get ahead was focus. They literally just focused on one thing for a long enough period of time, put all their efforts into it, and was able to get ahead, right? So I think with that though, I'll say there's different ways you can look at it, right? I'll say like when starting off, if you're like a young entrepreneur, I'll definitely say focus. Like have your one thing, become an expert, but then as you grow it, you can now build a team around you and then start other ventures. So I kind of did that, but not to the full extent. Whereas now I look back at it, it's more beneficial because although I have different businesses, I would say I only have one key role in each of the businesses and have the team that do the rest of it. And that's what's now, I think that's the right way to do it. Whereas like before I was trying to manage and be the CEO of every single business. So even with the Gen Z Club, although I founded it, I allowed one of the co-founders at the time to become the CEO because I knew that was his focus and my focus was property. And I just had to like put my pride aside to do that because I knew that would now allow me to allow my property business to grow. And I always realized that the years that I spend time just focusing on one business, that business like 4X's. But the year I spend time trying to do all three businesses, it's a bit stagnant. So it was like a really, really big learning curve, I guess. So
Yeah. I think there's something in that as well in terms of being able to relinquish a bit of, while obviously you co-founded it, relinquish a bit of control because you're saying, look, you're probably better off suited being the CEO, as you said, because I think a lot of people, you look on LinkedIn or wherever now, everyone's CEO of this, CEO of that. Do you get what I mean? And I think a lot of people want that kind of vanity, kind of the vanity that comes with the title if you like. So I think there's power in your ability to have done that. So Gen Z Club was going on for about 6 months before you actually started doing events. Talk to me about that transition from Clubhouse to events and kind of the conversations that were had with yourself. And so how many people did you found it with?
So 2 co-founders, yeah.
As in you and one other person, or you
Me
and
2 others.
And 2 other people, yeah? Because even that as well, I guess I'm a little bit older than you, right? So I guess in my head I'm thinking, wow, how do, at this point you're probably what, 22, 21?
No, Gen Z Club, so if that's...
No, actually, no, you would have been, because you're 23 now, innit?
Yeah,
so yeah, you would have been like...
20 maybe.
20, yeah. In my head, I'm trying to fathom how 3 20-year-olds come together and even agree on anything, let alone bringing it up off the ground and getting this thing running. So talk to me about kind of the conversations that were had and that transition from Clubhouse to ultimately events, which, okay, you said initially you were breaking even. ultimately there's now a commercial / business element to this, isn't it?
Yeah. So good question again. So I think with that, it kind of happened naturally, man. I think we just saw the demand of it, and again, one step at a time, we took that. Now I think as well, we all had different roles. And this is the power of a team, right? So we had someone who was my friend Poku. If you guys probably know him on TikTok, got like 300k followers. So he was like very good at brand representation. I was very good at like the strategic planning and I guess the overall vision of the company. Then the other co-founder was more so good at the marketing and sales. So we kind of had 3 different roles. And I think, yeah, with co-founders, it's a difficult one because there is some positives with it in terms of you've got different roles, everyone working there. But at the same time, there is some negatives such as, again, if there's all 3 guys, 3 egos in the way, or 3, if someone doesn't agree with something, or 2v1, it can be difficult. So there had been a lot of struggles with that. So like even now, there's only 2 of us co-founders in the business, to be fair. But it was beneficial. But I guess how we transitioned is that, so we first said, okay, cool, how can we get this attention into real life? Because again, it's good to have the attention online, but real life, that was the events. Then when we started doing events, it was like, okay, cool, how can we monetize it? And again, London, the venues aren't cheap, right? So we knew that we can break even for our tickets. That was our goal. But then it's like, how can we do it? And we realized that, okay, cool, Gen Zs, the next generation, all companies want to target them. So if we can now package up our Gen Zs to these corporate clients, we can now charge thousands and £10,000 for it. So again, with all of these things, it's the same thing. Idea, test it, got a bit of results. So again, our first ever sponsorship was probably like £200. And that was because someone wanted to just put a banner in the Gen Z club room. But again, it was just proof of concept. Because I said, okay, cool. If this small company can pay £200, then I know now like a big corporate company can pay like tens of thousands of pounds. And again, at the time, we didn't know what we were offering. We just said, have your banner at the event. Yeah. But now it's like, we have a clear package. Okay, cool, you get this, you get that, get these insights, this data. And again, people, I always say this, attention is a new currency, right? So people are going to pay for that. Like if you can now tell a company, I've got 5,000 pieces of Gen Z data, you can now come to our event, and from that event, you can now recruit 200 Gen Zs. Where again, I don't know how much people prepare for recruitment, but you're in recruitment, that will probably cost them an arm and a leg, but they're getting touched for a fraction of the price. So again, we now found a way to it's all about sales, man. Just speaking someone's language. We just, like even going to sales meetings, there's more about what is your goal for the year and how can we help you achieve that in the most easiest form possible, which is guaranteed success for you, but at least amount of effort for you. That's kind of like how we package it. And then again, we started doing like random packages such as like, sponsor and get an email marketing campaign and whatever. But then we started thinking, okay, cool, no, that's cool, but what's actual tangible data that they can get? And again, it's all just from learning, talking to the right people. And then I think one of the things that benefited us a lot as well was our network, right? Because we had a lot of people who were working at some corporations. So like, okay, cool, so what are you guys working on? What are other companies that you're paying doing? And then from there, it was good. So yeah.
So that's the value that the businesses would get from you. What value does the community get?
Yes, I think the community is more so about, again, we had a lot of people from like what you'd call the hood, right? And they just had no one around and not doing well. So they would come to the Gen Z club and realize, oh, wait, there's actually like 20-year-olds who are making good money. There's actually a guest speaker who's like a 30-year-old entrepreneur from a similar area who's now gone successful. We've now presented an opportunity. Like there's a guy called Kian, one of our first ever Gen Z members. From us, he started being a videographer. Then now he's getting flown around Dubai, Thailand, making crazy amounts. Left his job, dropped out of uni. So it's just most of the opportunities, and just the self belief, man. I think people need to feel part of a community, feel loved, feel inspired, and I think that's what it was providing. And I think just getting that insight, right, because we was now getting amazing people in the room, like people who are worth like tens of millions into the room, and they're like, wow, like how can I actually access that? Because I think in life, everyone really has the same goal, man. It's either health, wealth, or relationships. That's like more people's goals. Let's say we're tackling the area of wealth, and not just wealth in terms of money, but in terms of your mindset, your character. It wasn't really a sale. It was just mostly like, oh, I need that. Like the people were like, I need that, and we were providing that for them. So yeah.
What's interesting about your answer there is, I've just on YouTube it will look like, well, it was last week's episode, however it was shot 2 hours ago, and I've just spent the time talking to Rotimi about community. And what's interesting about his business and what you're talking about there is you've built a community kind of organically, if you like, and you've been able to, I don't want to say productize the community because that's not necessarily right, but you've been able to say, look, to businesses, look, this is the community that I have here.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? Which is quite interesting because it's not something that I've ever really thought about, if you like. But then I guess with him, and you kind of alluded to it yourself earlier, around you had an idea, but you never knew it would take you to this point.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? And so, yeah, I guess the power in that is just acting on what you like and what you want to do, if you like.
Yeah.
And then seeing where it takes you. Do you get what I mean?
No, I agree. And I think with that as well, it's all about starting with the end in mind, right? Because the Gen Z Club, I said to myself, if we're targeting Gen Z, 16 to 18, I know what I was like when I was 16. I didn't have much money, not from a financial background. So if we want to make a big business, we can't just do it from, I guess, just highly charging our community, right? But we know that the value comes from the community. And back to what I mentioned earlier, if I now charge these 16-year-olds £500, it's going to be very difficult to make that. That's like all their savings gone. Whereas if I can get them in for free or to a rent for £10, that can now bring a big community, which I can now charge my B2Bs lots of money for. So it's about who you're targeting, very important. So.
Yeah. In terms of bringing on partners, businesses, brands, etc., I can't remember who you said was the kind of the sales guy of the group, but how did you go about doing that initially? Was it a case of brands and businesses coming to you? Have you had to do a lot of outreach yourself? Talk to me about that kind of journey.
Yes, it was a mix of both. So one was a lot of outreach through LinkedIn and in-person events, reaching out to people. Again, a lot of people that we was working with was looking at the types of roles that would be working or needing us Gen Zs, reaching out to them. So many, and again, people see like some of the big companies at our events, thinking like you guys did amazing. Thousands of rejections, man. And again, it was funny because a lot of companies who rejected us, let's say, for example, actually I don't even know names, but let's say a bank rejected us, then they now see their competitor working with us. They're now coming to us to try and work with us now. And so now we just up the price now. But
yesterday's price is not today's price.
But so I think that was that one outreach. And again, we did feel a bit of imposter syndrome because again, I'm 20 at the time. One of them was 21, one of them 22. And again, it was like, how are we now asking this bank for £20,000, £30,000? But again, and it's important with mentors. We had a mentor who also, so there's a lot of people who do something similar to us, like companies like the Black Business Show, BY Network, all that stuff. And we have a lot of people who are cool with them. I'm cool with like the Black Business Show owner as well. And I was like, look, guys, you guys have something so valuable. Like, you'll be a fool not to even put a price to it. So that kind of gave me that proof of concept that, okay, cool, we can charge. So in terms of the meetings, we'll do outreach. We'll have a little bit of inbound. And then, it was just one step after another. We'll be like, okay, cool. This is our community. Then I'll be like, okay, cool. What's the value from it? So then we'll go back and change. Okay, this is a value. This is a value. Okay, cool. But why should we pay for it? So again, I remember one of the banks we work with now probably took us over a year just to get our first deal. And that's because we gave a pitch deck, then they tweaked it. Pitch deck, tweaked it. Then we had one of our connects from JP Morgan. They'll come to us. Okay, cool. You guys, I love what you're doing. Obviously, we're not able to invest with you guys, but here's what I would do if I was you. Then I created like a board as well. So a board of like successful people tweaking. So again, a lot of mentors helped us tweak our offering. Then we started getting an offering, and then we went from getting so many rejections to when we got our offering, easy closes. And then we'll just get these people closing. And I think in terms of sales, it's more so about sales, I think, is very easy when you are able to control the conversation, right? Whoever's in control of the conversation has the win, right? Before we needed them, we need you to work with us. And they could sell that. They just said, okay, cool. In their head, they're probably thinking, why am I going to trust these young guys with that money? Because they don't even know what they're offering. Whereas before, we now come to a mentality of like, look, if I'm honest with you, we don't necessarily need you. There's 10 other banks who are trying to work with us. But we know that this is going to be value for you. And then what we'll do as well is we'll understand what their goals are from maybe looking at their website, talking to people in their team. And let's say we know that their goal is to recruit 100 black individuals in whatever. So I'll be like, okay, cool. So what are you doing to actually do that right now? X, Y, Z. How's it working for you so far? It's difficult because no one's really trusting us because da-da-da. Okay, cool. What solutions have you got in place? Again, and then that's how we tie it. So I think what people make mistake with a pitch is just trying to pitch their solution, but you don't understand if it's actually going to be a solution for them. So I kind of like see what they've done, work out their options, give them even suggestions, and then my answers are like the final, okay, cool, do you know what? This isn't working. He clearly knows what he's doing, and then pitch it that way. So that's how I was able to kind of like come up with our packages. And even now, we're even adding more packages, working with more people to help us. We're always tweaking our stuff, to be fair. raising our price. I remember one time we thought we was charging so much money, and then one of my in our network, one of our mentors he looked at our packages and just laughed at us like, "You lot are getting bumped." yeah. So that's how even now this year we're raising our prices more as well, because again, we thought that we're charging a lot because it's a lot of money to us, but we're forgetting that these companies are worth like 10 billion or 5 billion, so peanuts to them. So yeah.
And so, sorry, just clarify for me then in terms of what or how the Gen Z makes money. Then is it purely the look? We've got events coming up, and you can sponsor, have your banner up, or whatever the case may be. Or because you were mentioning about data and stuff like that earlier as well, are you essentially selling data as well?
Yeah, so we have 3 different ways to make money, right? One is the B2C way, just for events. But again, that one just breaks even, right? It's £20 a ticket, 500 people. Our venues are quite expensive now, so that will maybe cover the venue cost, right? Cool. The second way is we have sponsorship packages for our events. So we have a bronze, silver, and gold, right? Bronze might be like you get certain benefits of the event. Silver you might get before and during the event. Gold might be before, during, and after the event. And then lastly, we have also like stalls as well. So sometimes, although we have like the main headline sponsors, but then we also have like mini stalls, which are like a cheaper price. And then the final way is more so consulting. So like if a firm now wants actually consulting on Gen Z, they want to have data, research, analysis, we can do consulting packages as well.
Yeah, okay. You mentioned earlier as well about imposter syndrome. Because again, sorry to keep kind of bringing home the point, but to be fair, I think this is what makes your story so special, because you're a young black successful young black man. Do you get what I mean? But again, I'm thinking it's like in my head, I'm picturing maybe a round table like this, massive boardroom at a bank. You mentioned JP Morgan, for example, massive boardroom at JP Morgan, and obviously not Jamie Dimon, who's obviously CEO of JP Morgan, right? But some exec maybe in the room with you guys, and you're trying to pitch to them, right? I mean, is that what it was like, or is it?
Do you know what? Yeah, a lot of stuff was on Zoom.
Okay, fair.
But I think one of the reasons it was decent to, or not as scary to pitch to them, is because a lot of people that we would meet is in person. So we'll go to like a corporate networking event. We'll see all these guys. They'll be like, "Oh, what do you guys do? I've heard about you guys. Have a Zoom call with us," and then they'll now prep us for the meeting with their head or whatever. So, and I think because they got to a point where we were so confident in what we're doing, it was just like, yes, I'm not saying there wasn't a bit of nerves, but to me, it was just like, do you know what? Yeah, and I think at that time, I think the year of 2022 or 3, I can't remember which year, but we was on like a massive run in the sense of like a lot of firms working for us. We got nominated for like so many awards, we doing loads of events, speaking on stage. So we knew that we had value. We just wanted to make sure that we can portray it in the right way. And so I think, yeah, that became a lot easier to portray it. It just became second nature to us before than after that. But yeah, our first few pictures were scary, man.
I can imagine.
But again, just from doing it, I think everything in life, the first time you speak to a girl is scary.
Yeah.
But when you just do it more and more and more, it becomes natural for you. So I think that's the same concept with this as well.
Yeah. No, brilliant. All right. So we've reached 2021. We've obviously spoken about a few. When was the first in-person event?
2021 summer.
Summer 21, yeah.
Then November 2021. Then from January 2022,
you did every
event
month.
every year.
Every week.
Every month, sorry.
Every month,
yeah. And then 2023, and again, this is why business models always change, right? And I think if something, obviously, don't fix what's not broken, but we know that there's a lot to achieve, right? So we said, okay, cool. Having an event every month is good, but there were like 80, 90 people events. So a firm wasn't really going to sponsor that, because compared to something like the Black Business Show, they've got 6,000 people. So then we changed our model. So 2023, our model was less is more. So we're going to now do maybe 4 or 5 events a year, but aim for 600 people.
Okay.
Right? And that now became our new model, right? And then again, 2023, award ceremony, real estate conference, entrepreneurship event, careers event, and another event. I can't remember the last one. I think, I escaped my mind now. But yeah, so then we now was able to now come to these guys with a bit more, I guess, value. Like, look, okay, cool. Instead of just targeting 100 people, you're going to now be in front of 600 people and then to go from there. So, yeah.
And I guess from there, because one question I was going to ask you is, how do you elevate? Because, for example, I'm thinking if you've got an event a month as you did in 2022, that's pressure to deliver on each event, right?
Yeah.
How did you, and I guess, do you still now ensure that you're delivering value in each event that people are coming to? Because presumably it's not a new set of 600 people now, or at the time, new set of 100 people at every event. Some people are going to come to multiple events, right? So how are you ensuring that ultimately every event people walk away with value?
Yeah, so I think at the time, so for the 2022 monthly events, we'll just do it on different topics. We'll do like a women's only business event. We'll do like a traders event. We'll do a property event. So although yes, we had 20% of the core members, we'll have a lot of new people coming in. Like, because again, for example, the women wouldn't want to go to like generic events with loads of guys there. So then a lot of them will come there, or some traders who aren't even interested in property will come to the traders event. So that was good. Then I think moving towards now, yeah, again, similarly, number one, we have it in different topics, different speakers, and actually invites different people into the room. I think with the Gen Z Club, the cool thing about it is we're providing such a good base or foundation that we don't have to do much. Obviously, yes, we aim to provide value, amazing venues, amazing speakers, but because the speakers and the community is so valuable, it kind of does it for himself. So I think with us, just more our focus is more so just make sure that execution is perfect, the times is all right, the speakers are credible, and then from there it was a lot easier to just monitor. We're just more so monitoring it rather than having to be like, okay, cool, let's try and make sure this activity is gonna be fun. Like, no, just literally bringing people, because we say the hub of opportunities, right? If we can bring a hub of opportunities for you where you can look left, there's someone worth a lot of money there. Listen here, there's a speaker. Go to this stand, there's a big business. Then yeah, just value is going to be there all around for everyone. So that's how we kind of saw it.
I love that. You had one of my guests as a host, if I'm not mistaken, Emmanuel. You had Emmanuel as a
Emmanuel, yeah, small world man. Yeah, Emmanuel's again. He's someone who's like an indirect mentor of us. He's not actually our mentor, but whenever we speak, like we were speaking to the other day, going out of lunch with him soon. We just speak, gives us advice. Again, we try to give him value in any way that we can. And then yeah, really good guy. Even Mr. Money Jar, again, people like that. So many people around us, I think they liked what we were doing. They're just giving us value, like not even charging us. And then yeah, we like to help whenever we can as well.
I love that. And as you said, it's a network community helping each other out, right? Funny enough, I was speaking to somebody recently. It was just like, look, as black people, we make up 3% of the UK, right? We need to be working together and sticking together. And I felt that when he said that. Let's put it that way.
It's so true, man.
I felt that when he said that, and I love the fact that you're working with all these great people in this space. So yeah, no, credit to you guys. Talk to me then about kind of because while I appreciate you just said that. Well, I need to take it with a little pinch of salt, because I know you didn't mean it literally in the sense of you don't have to. I think you even said it's not that you don't have to do anything, but obviously you bring together a collective of powerful people and influential people and whatnot that inherently the event provides value and is a good spend of people's time, right? But it can't have been. Every event couldn't have been that easy.
Yeah, and it wasn't, man. And this is the thing with entrepreneurship, man. I remember even. Let's say when we did our monthly events, so again, our core is London, our mainly based in London. I think naturally with these companies, they follow the founders, right? Again, it's not intentional, but I'd say 70% of our audience was young black entrepreneurs, right? Because again, us three founders were young black entrepreneurs from London, cool. So I remember one of my co-founders went to uni in Brighton. Did an event in Brighton, it done well because he went there. But then we tried Loughborough. Now Loughborough, I went to Nottingham, so it was close to Loughborough, but it wasn't Loughborough. And that was probably our first, because again, we was on like a bit of a, and I think, and this is why I always say to people, like, when you get humbled in entrepreneurship, it's the best thing. We thought we was on top of the world. Every event going well, everyone gassing us, people cheering our name. I remember Loughborough, I think the venue cancelled us last on the day. We was there.
Venue cancelled on the day.
People were waiting outside.
Hi.
And that was actually Emmanuel's guest speaker that one, to be fair. So Emmanuel's guest speaker. We had...
on the day?
Yeah. It was so many... And then I think we thought we were going to get like 150 people. We got like 40 people. But that got us back to the drawing board. Okay, cool. Wow. Where did this go wrong? And that was kind of like helping us to kind of envision, okay, cool, we're not giving ourselves enough time to market the events. We're just trying to run before we can walk. And then, yeah, I think that there was a phase, I would say, I think it was towards the end of 2022 where I think the hype was starting to die down a bit from the Gen Z Club. Because again, as you mentioned, actually, sorry, I think this is 2023 actually. As you mentioned, a lot of the core members kept coming. So I think people feel like they reached their peak at the Gen Z Cup. So they was now trying to look for something better. There was like, okay, come seeing the same face or whatever. So there was actually a peak where I remember some of our events weren't going as well. I was thinking, damn, like, have we fallen off, whatever. So we just kind of like looked how we can now, I guess, tweak it and make it more exciting. Because I think as well, I love the Black entrepreneurship community. But I feel like, again, everyone's just seeing the same faces. When you think of the Black entrepreneurs in the UK, you know the same faces, right? The same people, the same people. So I think everyone's getting too familiar. And I think that's when we realized, okay, cool, wow, we need to kind of tweak what we're doing, who we're bringing, and just trying to expand the community a little bit more. And that's what I was able to have a change. But yeah, that period was a bit tough. And again, as co-founders with full transparency, that caused a bit of turbulence. And that's when, again, so 2023... 2023, around after, let's say, mid-2023, after that, this Gen Z was my baby, right? It was my uni project, right? So I like that I gave it away, kind of gave it away, like, obviously, to my CEO at the time. But then I didn't necessarily like how it was being running. So I remember that period of time, and not many people knew this at the time, but they kind of got the hint. But I kind of like stepped away, kind of thing. I still had my shares and stuff, but I let the CEO at the time just run it for himself. So for a lot of 2023 and a lot of 2024, he was running it, and I was just focused on my property business. And that kind of goes back to what I was saying. Although it was good and bad, because it was good because I guess that period of time, because I was just focused on property, my property business in 2024, which is this year, has probably tripled in revenue, or even quadrupled potentially, because my focus has just been on property. I wasn't really focused on the Gen Z Club, but it was bad because maybe I wasn't actually... Because it's good delegating, but you've got to always look over what you're delegating. So I wasn't liking certain things. So I feel like that's when that turbulence kind of came with the business. And that's when I kind of fell out of love with it, this and that. My other friend, Poku, who's another co-founder, he kind of fell out of love with it. But again, it was all lessons, man. I feel like, because again, my mum used to always say, like, Denzil, like, make sure you have this in place, that in place. But again, it's all things that was going to allow me to kind of like learn. But the reason I liked it at the same time is because me now looking at it from the outside point of view, I can now see what was actually wrong with the business. Why is it not getting, like, where we get 500? I remember our first real estate event, we got like 600 people. Why was that? What did we do differently than we did this year? So again, now it's like, now that I'm back into it, running it with Poker again, I've now been able to see from last year what went wrong and how we can now make the changes. So yeah, it's not all glamorous. That's one thing I'm trying to make very transparent about entrepreneurship. Things do go wrong, but I think those are times where you're tested the most, your character's tested, and you just got to adjust. Yeah, you just got to adjust.
Talk to me then about the impact that turbulence had on your friendship.
Yeah. So we as a three was very close. Like, we was very close. Even I didn't grow up with any of them, but I saw them more than I every single day. We had an office in London. Every day we went to Dubai together. So we were very close. But I think after that turbulence happened, it kind of drifted. So like me and Poku, who we grew up in a similar area but not together. We're still very close today, but we kind of drifted a bit from our other co-founder. So it was sad at the time, like, and a lot of people were shocked because they just saw us as like a free. So it kind of like exploded. But again, a lot of these things you see like in, I guess, the news, but you never think would happen to you. Like, if someone told me 2 years ago that we'd have split up, I would have never believed it. But I think, as I mentioned, egos were involved. Everyone could have probably done something. I'll take accountability. I could have done stuff differently. Everyone could have done stuff differently. But I think it's just that people, it just, I guess, people just so many disagreements and stuff. Yeah. But I think as well, when money's involved and you guys know that you've now, because again, I think another reason why this might have happened is because I always knew that property was good for me, right? So I had a lot of focus on the Gen Z Club, but I let the other co-founder do it because I knew that I had my property business running, right? But obviously, if he only had that at the time, he was more, I guess, emotionally attached to it, where I was trying to think of it logically. So naturally, when you have an emotional and logical person, it can cause difficulties. But again, it was still a good journey though, like having that, because again, I always give credit to the other co-founder, like the CEO at the time, very good businessman. And I know he's got his own company now, but I know he's going to do very well from it. Like, he's a very good businessman. But I think just like the personality didn't kind of I could get on at the time. But yeah, it was impactful, man, because I think with me, it was more so like, damn, like, why is this happening? Like, I just want to have this business do well, this business do well. But yeah, anything that happens in my life nowadays, I never get too burnt, because I always think that to myself, it's all happened for a reason. It's here to develop me and make me to the best person. So very important. Yeah,
no, I like that. As I said, I think your mindset is very inspiring. I think your outlook on things, I said it earlier, you're way wiser you're wise beyond your years, as I said earlier. But that's yeah, as you say, these things happen and things happen for a reason. But I also just want to quickly understand, did you, and I guess the reason I'm asking these questions is because as you alluded to, it's like things aren't always going to go swimmingly.
Yeah.
Even if you're in business for yourself, things aren't always going to go swimmingly. If you go in business with your friends, things aren't always going to go swimmingly, right? There's going to be disagreements. Did you have agreements in place, paperwork in place to at least outline, okay, in these certain situations, this is what's going to happen? Or did you just have like an unspoken / unwritten trust for each other that we were going to do the best for the business? How did that look?
And that's why I should have listened to my mum. So my mum's always been the person that said, Denzil, no matter how good you're friends with someone, have stuff in writing. But I think with me, again, no one really taught me this as well. Because again, this business happened by accident. So I was just naive.
Yeah,
I was just like, do you know what, yeah. I remember when we first started, I had like 50% shares, they had 25% each. But because they're my boys, guys, I just have 33 each. And then, so like a lot of stuff wasn't actually written. So when all this happened, and again, I won't go into it, but certain stuff happened which wasn't in my favor. I was thinking, like, wow, if I didn't listen to my mum and got certain stuff in writing. So again, it's taught me a lot, because now every business that I'm in, I have stuff written down. Right?
Yeah.
Because it's now like, I don't want to go through that same thing again and have to, because now at the end of the day, if I'm the majority shareholder, but I don't even have control of the business and things are going wrong, I'm gonna have to clean up people's mess, and that's what was happening a lot of the time. So yeah, it's taught me a lot, man. Because I think the thing about us as entrepreneurs being young, we just see it as sales and marketing, but it's so much more to it. Right? It's operations, it's legal, it's HRs. So now I've been able to adopt those into my other businesses and how I can protect myself and protect the business as much as possible. So yeah, I didn't have it at the time, but it was a big lesson. That
Yeah. I think with a lot of these things, there's I guess a common phrase that L's aren't losses, they're lessons, right? And I think you're testament to that in terms of obviously what you've just described, kind of going through your businesses and relationships and stuff, and coming through the other side and being able to implement, well, sit back, reflect, okay, what could I have done better? What happened? What did I do to cause it or whatnot? What could I do better next time? What could I have done better or whatnot? And even also, what did I do right?
Yeah,
right?
that's
Because when you're reflecting, I think it's always looking at the positive and negative. And so, yeah, as I say, I think that there's a lot of power in that, and I commend obviously your ability to do that at such a young age as well, man. I'm sorry I keep drumming on that point, but it's mind blowing, man. It's mind blowing. You mentioned it might have just been a throwaway kind of thing, but you mentioned HR there.
Yeah.
Do you have a team? Do you have people that work for you?
Yeah. So in the Gen Z, so again, I guess the 4 different businesses, they all have different models, right? So the Gen Z Club, we mainly have contractors. So when we have our events, we hire contract for the social media, but now we're doing consulting, contractors to deliver out the consulting, right? That's number one. Now with my property sourcing business, I actually had a COO, and that's someone who does all the operations and stuff. So again, contract to that. Then with my rent-to-rent business, I've got one of my friends, he's my business partner. I we've got a team of that, just us two. But we've got people.
Do you have paperwork in place there?
Yeah. But again, that's like my closest friend, but still, yeah. And then my property education business, again, I've got like 2 sales guys, a setter guy, and then like a operations guy as well. So
wow. So you've got, at this point, at least 5 people, 6 people working for you then.
Yeah.
Plus contractors, and then
yeah. So that's good.
Yeah.
But I think, and that's another thing as well, the whole self-made thing, which I don't believe, because a team. If I knew this earlier, having a team is the best thing. A good team, should I say? Because even now, right? For example, with my property mentoring business, I love giving back to people, and I love mentoring people. But I also know that as well. I know that I like also finding property deals and do that for my clients. So he does literally everything for me, everything. Like even right now, as we're talking, he's probably controlling the sales team, all of that stuff, and it just makes my life so much easier. So yeah, if you have a good team, it's so important.
Yeah, no, I can imagine. Who was the first person that you brought on in any of the businesses?
Probably social media person. That's probably the first person I brought on.
Or is that full time or was that a contractor?
Contractor.
Yeah.
I've always done stuff contracted basis.
Yeah,
To be fair, really, it's just easier. I guess partly was because I didn't really understand how the whole stuff was, like PAYE, sick pay.
Yeah.
I never wanted to get into that, but contractors stuff was good. But I think the most beneficial people in my team are operations, man, because again, same way I say you shouldn't have 100 businesses if you're not a specialist, but same with your roles, right? If I know that, okay, cool, I'm good at branding a business, creating a vision, and connecting people. I know I can use my network and be like, okay, cool, this person can fit in here, this person can fit in here. Operations, I can't be bothered to do. I can't be able to do Excel sheets. I can't do none of that stuff. So, like, for example, my operations guy, when I tell you, if I show you, like, I'll show you after that, for example, some of the folders he's made and the operations and the systems, that would have taken me at least 4 months. He does it in like 1 week. But again, people often like, oh, but if I hire someone, that's money coming out of the business. But the way I see it is that if this guy's now, that guy I would say has probably tripled my revenue, right? The operations guy, minimum. So if he's been able to do that, I don't care if I'm giving him a cut of that, because if it wasn't for him, I won't have as much time or as much money at the same time. So that's what I think is so important. So I think as an entrepreneur, you have that stage where you do a lot of the self and you're the go-to person for everything. But I think gradually you should look to how you can start replacing yourself. Because again, I have different businesses for different things, right? And one of my businesses, for example, the Gen Z Club now, our goal is to exit it, right? Because again, mergers, acquisition, you get acquired. Now, I know if the business is too reliant on me and my co-founder, Poku, we're able to sell it, because who's going to want to buy a company that's just reliant on me and Poku? So now our main goal is to exit it. We're working with a consultant. Is how can we remove ourselves from the business? How can that, if we take a 6-month break from the business, it's still going to be able to run efficiently? And that's what I think is so important. But that only works by having a good team. But again, having a good team only works by 1, a good company mission, and 2, inspiring leaders. No one's going to want to follow a leader that's not actually doing what they're saying. They've got a good vision for the company. But if they can actually instill that within your team, game changer, man. Teams are game changers.
Well, that's powerful stuff. Especially talking about obviously what the plan for Gen Z is. I don't think there's I can't say I know too many people who are sitting there in business right now and saying, okay, this is my strategy exit and how do I work towards that, right? Because that's a monumental event in someone's life, right? Or in a business's life, if you like. And so, yeah, good luck with that, man. Good luck. I know, obviously knowing you, I know you've got everything in place to make that happen. So it's just, I guess, how many zeros at the end, right?
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think just to quickly talk about what you said, I think that's what I think is the best way to actually tackle things. It's right, okay, cool. Because sometimes, a lot of times, we're just working towards nothing, right? And I always give the analogy of like, if you want to drive from London to Manchester, yeah, you can do it by yourself, but it'll probably take you like 8 hours or 9 hours, because you might end up in Birmingham, Coventry, right? But if you have a sat nav, it's very easy. So with me, I always reverse it. Okay, cool. If I know I need to exit for, and I'm very specific. If I know I want to exit for, let's say it's 10 million, for example, I know that to get that, my multiple is, for example, 4 times the profit. That means that my profit has to be at 2.5 million. So how can I now get to 2.5 million profit? Okay, cool. By year 3, I have to get this. Year 2, I have to get this. Year 1, I have to get this. Okay, cool. That's now year 1. Now what do I have to do each quarter? Okay, cool. Now what do I have to do each month? Now each week, and now each day. And the way I see it is, if I say to myself now, I want to exit for 10 million, that's like, whoa, 10 million. If I now break it down to, okay, all I need to do is every single day get, 10 clients on Zoom calls with myself. That's a random example. Just through the compound effect and consistency, I'm now going to hit my weekly targets, then my monthly targets, then my yearly targets, and then get to my exit. So that's how I like break down everything in life, whether it's my gym goals, whatever. It's like, okay, cool. What is actually the end of overall goal? Then what's the actionable daily steps that allow me to achieve my overall goal? And I think that will just make it a lot easier for you. So you can just take the next step rather than thinking about the overall objective. So yeah, that's what's so important.
And you do that with everything in your life?
Yeah, I do it with everything.
That's
man.
impressive,
You just got to break it down. Yeah.
That's impressive. That's impressive. And you've used the phrase a couple of times, starting with the end in mind, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, you're clearly living that and living and breathing that. So no, that's impressive. I want to take it back again, sorry, to because I remember watching one of your videos, and you mentioned that. Well, actually, so you've mentioned in this conversation around proof of concept, right? And how you like the concept of proof of concept. And if you see something works, you obviously then maybe tweak and explore and whatnot, and as you did with Gen Z, with the property sourcing business, etc. Right? Well, actually, with Gen Z and the Airbnb business. Sorry, the property sourcing business. I saw in one of your videos you mentioned that it took you 6 months to get your first deal.
Yeah.
Now, that's probably the opposite of proof of concept to me.
It's true.
So talk to me about that journey, that time period, that's those 6 months, and because again, I'm at this part of the conversation, I'm speaking to the people who think things can happen overnight. You can do everything quickly, might make a couple of phone calls and they haven't had a few results, and they're like, well, this is obviously isn't working type of thing. To spend 6 months going at something with that kind of laser focus, as you've mentioned, that determination, and I guess almost maybe you did start with the end in mind, if you like, but talk to me about that period.
Yeah, so I think with me, my mindset was this: if I do it for 1 month and I fail, and then I start Amazon tomorrow, do it for 1 month and fail, I want to spend my whole year just jumping from industry to industry, hustle to hustle. But if I can just focus on one hustle, one industry, and fail for 6 months, I know that the rest of the 6 months will be good. Now, I'm not going to say I thought that the whole way through. I'm not saying I didn't think, okay, cool, do you know what, yeah, this isn't worth it. But I just always said to myself, my reason why. And I think for those who are struggling to stay motivated, I think it's because your reason why is strong enough. I need that if I don't carry on or change the situation for myself, whatever might happen to myself, to my mum, whatever might happen. But I said, if I'm going to be the one that's going to make that change, I'm going to stay persistent. So there's times I would feel like giving up. I just always, I don't know if this is the right terminology, but I just brainwash myself. Like, I write to myself, okay, cool. All you got to do is just sell one deal. That one deal is going to be worth it. So I bet Denzil, you're literally nearly there. So I just keep talking to myself. And then, because again, with sourcing, you can now make about 2 to 3K minimum at sourcing a deal. So in my head was like, okay, cool. If I can source this 3K deal, Denzil, just treat yourself to put this. Then you can give your mum this, and then the rest you can do this. So I was trying to brainwash myself. Again,
breaking it down.
And again, I had a mentor again. So again, I didn't get proof of concept from myself, but I got proof of concept from like my mentor and stuff. And then I think, funny enough, actually, I would say there's a book I read called Go From No, which basically means, 3 feet from gold. Go From No is another good book, but 3 feet from gold. And basically shows that someone was digging for a long period of time, trying to find gold. The day they gave up, someone came in that next day and got the gold. So basically showing the persistence. So I remember, I'm not saying I wasn't close to giving up, because I was very close to giving up. But I remember I read that book, and I just said to myself, do you know what, Denzil, cool, 30 more days. Just do it for 30 more days. And then I remember I got a deal, sold it, and I was like, cool. And I always say it's the first was the hardest, because from there, it was so easy. I wouldn't say, okay, let me not say the word easy, but it was so much easier than before, because it's more like proof of concept. You know, it works, and it's just about doing the same thing repeatedly. So it was good, man. Yeah, but it was tough, but it was good.
Yeah. A bit of a random question. Well, it's not random because you just mentioned the book, but where did the book 3 Feet From Gold come from? And what I mean by that is because I feel like life has such a funny way of speaking to us
at the right time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because how can you be, I guess, 5 months in, if you're saying you were going to go for another 30 days, how can you be 5 months in and then you decide to read this book and then you decide, you know what, let me go for 30 more days and then whatnot, right? So where did the book come from?
Do you know what it is, I know everyone says this as a joke, but I think your phone listens to you, man. Your phone listens to you. Like, everyone says it. I remember, I do read books, yes, but I don't know where it came up from. I think it must have come up like on a YouTube video. And then I heard it, I think someone said like a church service, not yet that book, but something around that type of topic. Then I think I said, what's the best books on not giving up? Then that book came up again. I just ordered it. And then it was a coincidence, but yeah.
Wow.
Was it a coincidence?
Yeah, of course. All right. So cool. So we've just talked about the 6 month period of not giving up, sheer persistence, perseverance, continuing. Let's bring it back to where we obviously were before, and I think that was we hit 2023.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this year then.
Yeah.
What's been going on this year? We're fast approaching the end of it.
Yeah.
What's been going on?
So this year, I think I've been a lot more intentional. Again, 2024, until the last month, I wasn't focused on the Gen Z Club. I wasn't focused on the Gen Z Club for the whole of this year. So my focus was literally my property businesses. But again, as I mentioned, although there's 3 businesses, everyone has different roles. So my property education business, I've got one of my guys who does everything for me. All I need to do is like some of the weekly stuff, weekly calls with the team, I've got coaches, everything like that. So like it's all systemized. I have a one-to-one coach for all the mentees. I've got sales team. I've got a marketing team. All I do is the weekly calls, and that's because of what I like and enjoy doing, giving value to the people, right? So again, I probably put about 10% into that business in terms of my time. Obviously, generates good, I guess, profits from that side, right? That's that. Then with my sourcing business, actually, I'll go to sourcing after. With my rent-to-rent business, again, my friend Nicky, who I met in university, he's like my closest friend now. But again, he always had a passion for doing something, but he never knew what to do. He just needed the right vehicle. And again, I wouldn't say he was an entrepreneur at heart, but he had entrepreneurial traits. He just wanted to work with more so an entrepreneur like myself. So again, I said to him, okay, cool, bro, let's come together. So again, now he basically manages the rent-to-rent business, and I just maybe oversee certain decisions, but he does like all the groundwork. And it kind of works well because the mentees will bring him deals. He'll maybe send it to me. I'll be like, yeah, cool, this is cool. And then they'll take it, right? Then I focus more so on the sourcing business. But again, with that, I don't actually like going out and finding deals, viewing properties, all that stuff. So now I've got either my really good mentees who want to now be my sourcers, or I've other people source deals for me, and I just focus on working with the client. So again, although it seems like I've got a lot of businesses right now, the three, they all work for themselves and they all entwine with each other. So I don't know, if I get a good sourcing investor, my mentees might find a deal for them and I go house my mentees, or one of my sourcing agents. And then if I like the deal, me and Nikki will take it on. So it's like all like a ecosystem now. So yeah, this year I think it's been my best year of business. Double down focus, and yeah, it's just been able to, as I mentioned, like overall like probably quadruple my revenue. So yeah, been really, really good. And I think I've invested a lot into systems, operations, and just letting things build that way. Because I think again, as an entrepreneur, you go through that stage of, as I mentioned, you make money to to pay for your necessities. You make money to then fund your lifestyle. Then you get to that realization that's like, okay, cool. How can I make my money, make me more money? And that's when you get to the real, I guess, wealth that you're looking to build. So I was like, okay, cool. Yes, I'm making money, but let me put it into my money. So now I'll put a lot of money into marketing. I put a lot of money into systems, hiring people, and that's not going to make me more money. And that's what I've done this year. Hired operations teams, all of that stuff. And so that now does the hard work for me. And I just do 20% of the work, which will now bring 80% of the results. So yeah, that's kind of, yeah, exactly that. So that's how I kind of like have structured the businesses as more of an ecosystem where it runs with each other. Now, obviously, 2024. So we're in. I'm not sure when this is coming out, but we're in November right now.
So around New Year, basically.
New Year, yeah. So in October, the co-founder who I made a CEO decided to leave, which again, so unexpected. I was happy with the property stuff. Gen Z was working on it. Again, Gen Z was still doing really well this year as well. Him running it, props to him. He decided to leave because he wanted to do his own thing, which was cool. So we got the Gen Z Club back. So now, again, instead of me now being full into the Gen Z Club, I'm now using the same principles I applied to my property principles to build up the Gen Z Club. So that way, again, going to the new year, I want the same thing where the Gen Z Club is running efficiently. I'm just overseeing stuff. And then, yeah, kind of works like that. So
when did you decide to go into property education?
So that one actually came from, again, so in the property space, there's so much, I guess, talk about property mentoring and stuff. And again, so when I started at 17, I'm 23 now, right? For about 4 to 5 years, I didn't do any mentoring. I was just helping people a lot for free. But I remember I started helping people with sourcing and I was making like £3,000 a month, £4,000 a month, and so much value. And it got to a point where, because I'm, I guess, like a nice person, should I call it, I was probably mentoring like 20 people for free, getting good results, and I just had no time. Then I just said to myself, do you know what, yeah, someone's like, Denzil, can I mentor you? Can you mentor me? I was like, can't lie, I can't. He's like, Denzil, I'll pay you. And I think I was just like, okay, do you know what, just pay me.
There's a proof of concept again.
Yeah, exactly. I was just like, do you know what, yeah. And again, I think it was something small, like, I don't know, £100. I can't remember. I was like, cool. Again, from that, he got the results. He's like, Denzil, I literally went on a course before, got scammed £5,000. What you taught me from this £100 to change my life. So again, I now try and sort from more of a place of value. Like, okay, cool. A lot of people I'm hearing that are getting scammed from property courses. How can I provide real life training that will get them results? Because again, a lot of the property trainers are 50-year-old English guys, which is nothing wrong with that at all. So it's very hard to relate to anyone that's Gen Z, regardless of your background, just as a Gen Z, because you being a 20-year-old going to an estate agent is different, or speaking to an investor is different than a 50-year-old, right? So again, at the time when I started my sourcing journey, there wasn't many. Now everyone's doing it, but there wasn't really anyone doing it like at a young age. So I said, okay, cool. How can I guess, teach all that I've learned in the last 4 years into a program? So I'd say like end of 2023, when I kind of like stopped operating with the Gen Z Club, I kind of started it because I really liked the Gen Z Club because I was able to help people and all that stuff. So I said, how can I practice property? So I started the year 2023. I fully launched it, I fully launched it 2024 January. And then from there, it's just been progressing. And again, it's got to a point now, yes, we do marketing, but majority of people come from word of mouth because people get such good results. Like we've had mentees who have left their jobs from it, come full time, clear all their debts from it. So it's like proof of concept once again, as you mentioned. And now it's expanding to a point where, as I mentioned, and this is how business is always evolving. The first quarter of the year, I was doing all the one-to-ones, all the sessions, all that stuff. Then I started hiring coaches. And so now we've got like 4 coaches, a lot of, I guess, got 3 people in the sales and marketing team. And now, again, it's so funny, all of my things always start off as like an idea, proof of concept, make a bit of money, and then it becomes a business. So now it was previously just like more of like a hustle or like a favor to the community. But now it's actually like, I'll say it's a business where I've got operations team, this team, that team, and it's working quite well, to be fair. So
yeah. No, I think the proof of concept thing, I think is very it's strong because I'm sure there's a lot of people out there maybe listening to this, maybe in a 9 to 5 or whatever. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying entrepreneurship, and I don't want this podcast to even begin to suggest that entrepreneurship is the only way and is the right way, right? But I'm sure there's a lot of people. The idea of this podcast was because I know, for example, I struggled with, I have an idea and I never ever take action. So I wanted to speak to people who have had an idea and have taken action, right? But I guess what we're talking about here in terms of proof of concepts, why it's so strong is because if there is somebody who is out there in a 9 to 5 right now who's got an idea, you don't need to leave that 9 to 5 straight away and then make it work. 100%. You could dabble, you could do something, start off small scale, and then see if there's a proof of concept, and then take it from there, and then obviously expand from there, right? As you said, start with the end in mind, and then work backwards. What can I do on a small scale that would allow me to get this off the ground and see whether or not there's actually a business behind this, right? So I do like that.
That's so true. Even like one of my friends, he's my marketing guy. Again, he's got a degree, he does medical science, but he knows ads. Proof of concept, he's done an ad for me, done really well. Done it again. Started charging me, gave him a friend, started working. Now we've got like a free-run agency. It's all about proof of concept. And I think, I know our culture always preaches starting entrepreneurship, but I don't always think you have to. I feel like if you do have a service, I think there's a really good test called the Wealth Dynamics test, right? And from talking to you and knowing you, I would say that you're a star, which is similar to myself. As someone who's a people's person, you can be a good personal brand, all of that stuff, right? But what you need is like a mechanic. I need mechanics, right? So I'm the star. Yes, I can talk about it. I can go on podcasts, but I need a mechanic that, okay, cool. I'll call, for example, my operator for one of my businesses called Dudley. I'll be like, okay, cool, I've got this. And then by the end of the day, he'll have like a whole Excel sheet, a system set up. That's what you need. And I think the mistake people make is that the reason they don't start business is because they think they have to be every single role of the business. Sometimes all you just need is like a mechanic, or again, you might be a mechanic, you can make all the systems, but you need someone that will be out there promoting a brand. That's all you need. You just need like 2 people to start that, and I think you can go a lot further with it, to be fair. So yeah.
Again, from some of your YouTube videos that I've been watching, I remember you mentioned about the power of partnerships.
Yeah.
And that obviously comes into that, right? I think, as you exactly just said, even in my head, I think there's a lot of times where, and this conversation and other conversations through this podcast have inspired me to and told me and has taught me that, as you said, you don't need to do everything. Like this podcast, I do absolutely everything. Right. but to be fair, I like it for now. It's not bad for now. I'm sure there'll be a time where it's long editing and all that, and I'm 100% will bring people on board. But I guess the point I'm making is from the jump, I could have partnered with somebody who maybe had video editing skills and said, you know what, I'll go out, I'll do sourcing of guests, sit down, have the conversations with them, and then you take it from there, edit the episodes and whatnot, and obviously join up if you like. But again, as I'm saying, the power of partnerships is also a powerful thing. So just talk to me maybe about, or if you can elaborate a bit more on that, in terms of the power of partnerships and how that's worked for you.
Yeah, man. So I've probably said this on a lot of podcasts, but it's the famous saying that says, if you want to go fast, go alone, go far together. Yes, fast alone, you can execute a lot quicker. You want to record an episode tomorrow, just go there tomorrow, do it yourself. But with a team, I think you can do a higher volume of work and a higher quality of work. So I think the reason partnerships are so important, and again, when it comes to partnerships, it's very important you have a shared vision but different skill set. That's in my opinion, right? Because there's no point having 2 Ronaldos on the team. That's not going to work. If you
look at Real Madrid right now.
Exactly. Football, that's not going to work. Whereas if you have a Ronaldo and a Kevin De Bruyne, you've got the same vision of winning the game, but Kevin De Bruyne knows his role. He might score a goal here and there, but his main goal is to play the ball right, and then Ronaldo's main role is to score. So I think that's the same way you look at it as business, right? It's about, and the thing is, everything in life just teaches us like all of these principles, right? You always see like the Prime Minister has a right hand. And again, a lot of these big people that we see in the world, you don't actually see the person that they have next to them. For example, like Ronaldo or Messi will get all the credit, but they won't look at Iniesta and Xavi, who is actually, there's no Messi without Xavi and Iniesta. So again, bring it back to football. So it's always about having that person that's going to be that, and not even just for the skill set, but also the accountability. Again, as an entrepreneur, you feel down. Like it's hard. Like life can get hard. Money's not coming in. You now got to help your family. And I think with entrepreneurship as well, which I should have mentioned, is that when you get to a stage where you're now helping your family, that's now, I guess, seem consistent to them. So let's say you have now a rough patch. It's now about how people who are now expecting on you, how you're going to now deal with that. And that's where you can now feel like, okay, cool. I remember when I finished uni, and I was full-time entrepreneurship, I was like, do you know what, let me just go back into work, man. This isn't worth it. Like, this is going to be too difficult. But having your partner's like, nah, man, like, just literally like 3-4 months more, like, let's do this. Or again, splitting the costs at the time. Do you know, let's just split it the 3 ways rather than splitting it 1 way. It's a lot easier, man. But I think, again, it just depends on your vision. Again, like, if you want it to be a one-man team, that's fair enough. But if you want it to be like a team, but again, let's say bringing it back to podcasts, people like, I guess, Steve and Bartley, Ali Abdul, yes, they've got amazing podcasts, but their team, massive.
Yeah, it's mad.
You know what I'm trying to say? So you rarely see anyone do it by themselves, man.
Yeah.
Yes, they're in the spotlight, but because they're the star, but they've got a mechanic working. So yeah.
I remember Steve Bartlett saying that while this hasn't necessarily got anything to do with partnership, and I just remember him saying that they test like 100 different thumbnails.
Yeah, it's crazy
for each episode. Bro, can you imagine if I get to the point I'm testing 100 different thumbnails for one episode?
You will do. You definitely will do, man.
Hey, by God's grace, eh?
God's grace, man. God's grace.
Oh my days. Okay, final few questions. I'm interested. I'm always like, you see my YouTube, right? If you were to look at my YouTube right now, and I'm even recording one of these today, basically a day in the life, right? And I'm a sucker for day in the life videos. Yeah. Bro, I'm interested in 2 things. Well, day in the life from 2 different perspectives. When things were on top, when you were in a height of just trying to make everything work and whatnot, and maybe today, or not this literally today, but this period now, if you like, what did your days look like? Yeah.
And again, it might be a long answer, but I'll break it down. I think there's 3 different day in the life of an entrepreneur, right? You have the building stage, right? That's when I think I was very big on my morning routine. Wake up 5 a.m, try to do my cold showers, try to go for my 5K runs, read 100 books, whatever, and I'm just grinding all day, right? That's the first stage. That's the building stage. That's when you go from no money to money coming in. Then you have, I think, the second stage is when you get, I guess, to the more the managerial stage where you built it to a good level, and now you've created systems, and now you're just more so overseeing it and all that stuff, right? And then the third stage is where it's like, okay, cool, you're overseeing it, and you're now able to travel and stuff, but then you're like, actually, it's not as good as it seems, but it's like, no one actually wants to sit on the beach for a year. Let's be real.
Yeah.
And then you now be like, how can I now implement that yourself in the business? But again, at the first stage, you're working in the business, but on the third stage, you're working on the business. So now, you're not now necessarily your own employee. You've not created yourself another job where you do at the start, but in the third page, you're more so like overseeing it. You're more so like making the big plays. You're more so dictating the play. You're getting the right people. You've got more capital to be like, okay, cool, you go here, you go here. You might help out here and there, but you're just more so overseeing it. And I think that's the stage where it becomes a lot more beneficial. So again, to answer your question, day in the life at the start would have probably been like, wake up in the morning, 5 a.m, try and do the most, read 100 books, 10 podcasts, and just try and be that mentality. The second stage was more so about just a lot of meetings, a lot of meetings of hiring people and overseeing stuff. Now, I would say like, again, I'm nowhere near where I want to be, but I would say it's more like relaxed. Like, I don't wake up late, but I wake up like 8 a.m, I'll go gym, breakfast, I might have like a couple meetings, come to a podcast, more chill. Just there's times in my life where I put a lot of pressure onto myself. For example, like typically, let's say the winter period, I put myself more in a monk mode period. But in general, it's like now I'm just more so doing things that I actually want to do. Like, and that's more so like meetings with people, networking event, podcasts, being with family, and then maybe just overseeing my sales team and all that stuff. But the other stuff, I don't really do it as much. I'm not really now scrolling online finding deals like I used to 4 years ago. I'm not really going out there to find partnerships like I used to. Like I've got people doing that. I'm just more so handling what comes my way. So the dating life now, even when I try to vlog on my YouTube, I don't do weekend lives because my dating life can be boring. Like it can be boring, but then something cool happened in the week. Like I'll go to an event or be invited to this, and it'll make it a little more interesting. But I think nowadays it's just more so meeting with people, because I think the reason that's important is because I'm always trying to put myself into rooms where I meet them. Like, I've got a lot of friends who are, and I guess my mum always says to me, Denzil, stop being hard on yourself, because again, I'm not just saying it like a humble way. I don't think I'm where I need to be. It's because I'm generally around people. I was with my friend yesterday from Dubai. Yeah. Oh, Denzil, I had a bad month, man. I only made 200k. So it's like I'm around these type of people, so I genuinely think I'm doing well, like good enough for myself, right? Just because of what I can achieve. So I think now I'm also just putting myself in the rooms, having one conversation. Again, I had an hour conversation with him yesterday. He gave me 2 game-changing plays. So again, it's just like being in those rooms and then, yeah, man, implementing it into my business. But again, I'm honestly doing it. I'll be like, okay, cool, Dudley, spoke to my guy. He told us to do this, this, and this. He'll do it. And then, yeah, go from there. So.
Wow. What motivates you?
Again, different stages were different motivations. I think at the start was more so just making sure that my mom doesn't have to worry about money. That was the main motivator. I think now I'm more forward thinking, man. I'm thinking about like my future family, providing a life for them when I have wife and kids. That's kind of like what motivates me now. But continue to obviously support my family like I do. But I think, yeah, that's my man. What about yourself? I'm a friend of
Who's the interviewer here? What's going on? What's going on? Nah, I'm joking. Yeah, you know what? I feel like with me, the answer to that question has changed over the years. I think when I was younger, obviously it's money, and just get as rich as possible and whatnot. Now I value time, freedom, and whatnot. Don't get me wrong; it's not as if I have it, but I mean, on the journey that I'm currently on now, I'm currently in a position where, yeah, I can obviously set my own schedule if you like. But in terms of motivation, I'd say, yeah, family, man. Family, I think, obviously, you're my cousin, right? So we're from the same place, and we've got family who have obviously come over here and worked their absolute socks off, right? And I think it's credit to them because the amount that they've worked, don't get me wrong, it's like, I'm trying to think of the best way to put this, but ultimately it's like the amount, obviously it's different times, right?
Yeah.
So the amount that they worked, if we worked even half of that,
It's true.
we'd be clear.
Yeah, it's facts.
Do you get what I mean?
Facts.
We'd be clear. And
with
so,
the resources that we have as well.
Exactly. So I look at that and I'm like, I can't do my parents a disservice, family, and also my direct family, obviously, Mrs. Kid, do you get what I mean? And really, yeah, just wanting to be like a provider, because I guess I'm, there's an element of me that's quite traditional in that sense, right?
Yeah.
Like a man of the household and whatnot. And I've done a lot better in terms of putting pressure on myself, because I think one thing I used to be very bad at is putting pressure on myself, right? I've got a lot better with that. But yeah, I'd say that's what motivates me, just being able to provide and in the near future live that life that, you know, is like that you dreamed for, you know. So yeah.
No, powerful, man.
Yeah, man, it's mad. Oh, look at that! I've had to answer a question on my own podcast. I like that. I wish more guests would do that. No, brilliant. Look, let me bring this to a conclusion though, because you've been absolutely generous with your time, so thank you. I've got a couple more questions before we go. Cool. Now, I know I just asked about kind of what motivates you, but then in terms of success, if you're looking at Denzil, you alluded to the fact that your first mentor was, let's say, mid-50s and upwards, right? Mid-50s, 60. If you're Denzil Jones, 55, 60 years old, and you're looking back at your life and you're saying, yes, I've done it, I'm successful. What does life need to look like at that point for you to be able to say that?
No, amazing question. I think for me, one thing that all my friends know me for and I always call it ecosystem. So even like my private story and stuff is all ecosystem, because my thing is that, and again, so many sayings that we hear growing up is so cliche but so true. Like some people, lonely at the top. It's actually true, right? Because I remember, again, when I started seeing a bit of success from my business journey, it was good. But then I'll be like to my friends, oh, guys, it's Wednesday night. Let's go to Central. But then some of them will be working. I'll be like, oh, Denzil, I'm saving this and that. And I realized that it's good making a bit of money, but it's like if you can't enjoy it with your close people, yes, you can enjoy it with your business friends, but there's a difference between your business friends and your home friends. So my thing right now is always just making sure that I'm not really too materialistic. I don't care. Yes, I want to have a calm car, but again, for the car heads, it's probably like a basic car, right?
I'm the same with me.
You get what I'm trying to say? Yeah. So I don't want to necessarily have like the 100 houses or whatever, but my thing is just more so success to me. That's like all my close people are good, and that's why, for example, even now, all my friends have like, and I've pretty much helped them all in one way or another. Obviously, they've done it themselves, but whether it's giving them clarity or ideas, like I've got a friend who's now traveling the world doing content for people. I've got a friend who's a football agent, guy who does social media ads. So many different friends doing different, and that's my dream. Like, because again, a lot of these people didn't have that self belief or the guidance. But I think when they even came to the Gen Z Club or saw maybe me doing certain things, that kind of now allowed them to know that okay, cool, it's possible for them as well. So I guess my goal for the future is to have an ecosystem that everyone in my life and all my close people have something going for themselves, where they can now create their own dreams and make it possible for themselves. That to me is fulfillment. If I'm mad successful, or should I say when I'm mad successful and none of my people are, that to me isn't success, man. Mine's more so about everyone around me doing well, doing what's best for them. That to me is true fulfillment, man. Yeah.
I think what's good about what you just said there as well is it's more so facilitating rather than providing.
Yeah. 100%.
So, I mean, don't get me wrong. You may or may not do this, and this isn't necessarily the point, but obviously there's, okay, if you're from a separate business, for example, maybe inject some cash or whatever, right? But it's more so from what you're saying around, okay, I can hook you up with this person or that person, right? And I think I really like that because, as the saying goes, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't force it to drink, right?
Facts, yeah.
So, yeah, no, I like that. I like that. What's next? We are literally, well, I guess you could say days. What were we, 20th of November?
Yeah.
Obviously this is coming out in the new year, but we're 20th of November, so we're fast approaching 2025. What's the outlook looking like?
So I'll say, again, so for my rent-to-rent business, I'll go just to scale, keep getting more units. Because again, that's more so just like that passive cash flow, which we'll probably use for investments. With my sourcing business for 2025 is just to hire more buyers agents. And again, we're more so focused on the high end of the market. So just working with a lot more like footballers and high-net individuals who are looking to buy property. Gen Z Club, as I mentioned, I want to obviously on the one side for my community build more impact to be able to not just target black entrepreneurs in London, although that wasn't our initial targeting, but that's what we attract. But I actually want to try and expand it, just target Gen Zs as well as a whole, and generally impact them. And obviously my goal with the Gen Z Club, again, so my rent-to-rent business is more so for the passive cash flow. My Gen Z business, my goal is to exit and to get like a capital event number like in a few years' time. My sourcing business is for my daily cash flow and my use. And my education business, which I don't even take money from, is more so to impact. I want to make sure that I can help at least 500 people become financially free through property sourcing or just property in general. So, pardon me, sorry, I'm a long way away from that, but again, that's kind of like my goal with that. So yeah, that's what I'll say.
That's amazing, man. That's amazing. You've got some of your goals there. I think are extremely powerful, man. As you said, like the impact that you want to have, as you said, 500 people, right? Yeah. Get them financially free and whatnot, and yeah, I look forward to the post where you say I've done it, I've hit 500 people, but then I guess at that point it's like, okay, now it's 1,000 or now that's it, you know. But yeah, we'll hit the 500 first and take it from there. Cool. What well, you've mentioned 2 books earlier. Maybe they are the ones that you would recommend, but what book or resource would you recommend for people to check out? Yeah,
so I would say books, again, depends on what stage you're at your journey, but I think starting out, a good one is Atomic Habits. Just teach you like the person you've got to become to achieve success. It's not just about having a goal, but it's about the steps and the accountability. Think and Grow Rich is quite a good one. It talks about different mindsets about success. 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, that's good. In terms of people, join 2 people I listen to, and again, at different stages you listen and read different things. Growing up, a lot of my stuff was like motivational stuff, but now it's like more tactical. So people I listen to is like Alex Hormozy and Myron Golden. And then lastly, the resources, people around you. It's like, I always ask for advice. Even you, I ask you for a lot of advice when it comes to, for example, like family, marriage and stuff. Because with me, it's like, why not ask for people who've already experienced it? And again, I don't want to just ask just look at an American 50-year-old about marriage, because that's very unrelatable. But see someone who's grown up in a similar environment from me, probably has similar interests to me. How do you find being in a certain situation? So with me, it's about my best. Yes, books and stuff are amazing. Don't get me wrong, but my best resource is real life information. Like, who can I speak to? So, for example, Denzil Club are plans to exit. So right now, I paid a consultant who's exited his business. A lot of people who know him, but yeah, exited his business for tens of millions to consult us on exit. I spoke to you about family and marriage, because I know you've been family, got a good marriage. So again, it's just about speaking to the right people, and then just, yeah. Again, I'm not saying if they say jump, I jump, but it's just also about, I take what they say, talk to one or two people, and then see what I want to apply to my life type thing. So
yeah. No, that's amazing, man. Wow. I guess finally then, what kind of parting words would you have, whether it's, well, the way I like to phrase this is, if people were to take, I mean, there have been gems in this conversation, right? So it's impossible that people only take one thing away from this conversation. But if people were to take one thing and one thing only from this conversation as your parting words, what would that be?
Cool. I would say the most important and impactful thing about me is not necessarily about your goals, but it's about the person you become to achieve those goals. Like, you gotta realize that everyone in life has the same goals. They want to be rich, retire their parents, but what differentiates the people that are successful to the others is the person that they are. So I think just work on your character. If you can become a high value character person, which can be applied to any industry, any business, whether it's your 9-to-5 job, which is still good, your own business, you will be unstoppable. So I think, yeah, just become that character, or become that version of yourself which you know you can achieve all that you set for yourself. And then, yeah, man, life will come to you naturally. And I think just wait as well, man. Like, I feel like things come to you at the right time. There's a lot of stuff I've wanted at life at a certain time, and I look back and thinking, wow, if that happened then, I would have messed it up. So I think, yeah, just, yes, act with intensity to get your goals, but also have daily gratification. You know, like, okay, cool, things happen to you at the right time. So,
well, that last point there is, especially in this day and age, 2024, approaching 2025, where everything's at, that's powerful that you're saying that. Just wait, things will come to you at the right time, man. Wow, Denzil, that has been a serious conversation. Man. I greatly appreciate your time, man. Glad we managed to have this chat. In this format anyway. We obviously, as you said, we chat as it is, but glad we've managed to have it in this format. And honestly, I know that people are going to take a lot of value and insights from this. So, bro,
thank you, guys. Guys, make sure like, comment, subscribe.
This
is the best podcast. And just watch the growth, guys. So make sure, man. Make sure.
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate it. On that, where can people find you?
So Instagram, TikTok, everything _Denzil Jones, and then Gen Z Club, the Gen Z Club, and then just anything, let me know. But again, before you message, you have to follow you guys on Instagram. So yeah.
Say no more. Nah, I appreciate.
Oh yeah, and YouTube, Denzil Jones. So I gotta put the YouTube in.
Yes,
I'm carrying YouTube.
YouTube. What do you vlogs and that, innit?
Vlogs and day in life, some tutorials.
Yeah. So. Nah, sick. No, well, similar thing, man. I look forward to seeing the continued successes and the growth of each of the companies and the businesses, and particularly that exit of Gen Z. I look forward to you saying that you've touched 500 people's lives with the education and the sourcing and everything. I look forward to because as I said, your mindset, you will achieve all of those things, man. Because then it couldn't happen to a better person, man. So all the best, man.
I appreciate it a lot, man.
Guys, wow. What an episode. As Denzil said, look, he said it, not me, right? Like, comment, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff. He's giving you his handles as well, so make sure you check out all his platforms, all the businesses as well. And look, let's grow the community. Let's grow the Blackprint community, and let's grow the Gen Z and the property sourcing, or on Denzil's community, should I say, in terms of the property sourcing and everything as well. So, guys, let's do it. But hey, this has been the Blackprint. I've been your host, Bainey, with my fantastic guest, Denzil Jones.
Thank you for having me.
No worries. Guys, we'll catch you on the next one. Peace.